It has been 20 long years. 20 years since my son Michael last looked me in the eyes. 20 years since he last called me Dad. The silence has been louder than any scream. When Michael was 10, I divorced his mother. People say divorce is between a husband and wife, but that's a lie. Divorce eats into the soul of a child more than anyone else. His mother, Jane, was bitter, full of venom. I left not because I stopped loving my son, but because I couldn't survive the marriage any longer. Jane was unfaithful, cruel, and manipulative. I endured years of her insults, her betrayals, her lies. I stayed because of Michael. But one day, she crossed a line so deep I couldn't forgive. She used Michael as a weapon, telling him I was a failure, telling him I didn't care, even telling him I was leaving because I found another woman. None of it was true. When I finally packed my bags, Michael stood at the door with tears in his eyes. Dad, he asked, why are you leaving us? I wanted to tell him everything, but he was only a child. How do you explain betrayal to a 10-year-old? How do you say, son, I am leaving your mother, not you? I hugged him and whispered, I will always love you. But Jane leaned down and whispered something else into his ear. From that moment, I saw the hatred in his eyes. I tried. God knows I tried. I wrote letters, unopened. I called, blocked. I sent gifts. They were returned to my doorstep, unopened, sometimes broken. Michael grew into a man without me. Graduations, birthdays, milestones. I watched from afar like a stranger. People told me, he'll come around one day. But years kept passing, and the silence grew heavier. Sometimes late at night, I cried into my pillow like a child, not because of my divorce, but because my own son hated me for something I didn't do. Then, one day, when I was 60, my doorbell rang. When I opened it, I saw him. Michael, my boy, had become a man, tall, strong, successful, but his eyes still carried the same cold fire. Dad, he said, his voice like ice, I didn't come here for love. I came for what's mine. He handed me documents, legal papers. My own son was suing me, claiming rights to my house, my company, everything I had built over decades. I was speechless. Michael, why? He sneered. Because you abandoned us. Because you chose yourself over family. You don't deserve what you have. I'll take it. I'll take everything. My hands trembled. This was the cruel revenge I had never imagined. From my own flesh and blood. That night, I couldn't sleep. My chest ached. My heart felt heavy. I knew I had to tell him the truth, even if he never forgave me. I called him the next day. He agreed to meet at a quiet cafe. When he sat down, his jaw clenched with hatred, I finally spoke. Michael, do you know why I left your mother? He rolled his eyes. Because you were selfish. No, I said firmly, my voice shaking. I left because your mother was destroying me. She cheated on me for years. She lied, manipulated, and turned you against me. I stayed for you. I endured everything for you. But one night, I caught her with another man, and she made you believe it was my fault. I couldn't stay in that house anymore. It was killing me. For the first time, I saw a doubt in his eyes. His lips trembled. Your mother, she told me you didn't want me, that you hated me. She showed me letters I never wrote, saying I didn't care about you. But the truth is, Michael, every day for 20 years, I loved you. I waited for you. Tears fell from my eyes. His hands shook. Why didn't you tell me sooner? He whispered. Because you wouldn't listen, I said, sobbing. And because I didn't want to ruin the image of your mother. I wanted you to love her, even if it meant hating me. Michael broke down crying. For the first time in 2 decades, he hugged me. But life is cruel. Sometimes forgiveness comes too late. A month later, Michael found out the truth himself. Old letters, hidden messages, and confessions from relatives who had seen Jane's betrayal. He realized everything I said was true. By then, the guilt ate him alive. Dad, he said one evening, holding my wrinkled hand, I wasted 20 years hating you. 20 years I'll never get back. I smiled weakly. Don't waste the next 20. Son, lie better. Learn from this. But fate had other plans. My heart, weakened by years of stress and pain, gave up 2 weeks later. Michael was left with nothing but memories, regrets, and tears. This story is not just mine. It is for every son who listens only to one parent's voice. Never let bitterness blind you. Never let hatred steal the years you can never return. Parents are not perfect. They fail, they break, they hurt. But before you judge one, hear their side. Because sometimes the cruelest betrayal is not from strangers, but from the lies told inside your own home. Michael learned this lesson too late. I pray you don't. Don't inherit another person's hatred. Seek the truth before you condemn. Cruel revenge leaves only regret. Time is the one thing you can never get back.